Sometimes you just don't know where inspiration about life may strike. For Suki, it was in the last place she expected. Suki stared out the window at a motorcycle parked haphazardly in the pothole dust of a well-worn parking lot. She didn't know what it was about that chrome, but it looked too much like a day spent doing nothing, wandering the roads, drinking a little, soaking up more sunshine than someone ought to be exposed to in a lifetime, and watching puffy clouds mirrored in her visor. There was too much pressure in her head, and the thought of straddling that thin strip of stuffed vinyl with those two cylinders purring beneath was enough to make her decide to blow off the stiffness that had permeated her life and make one desperate attempt to reclaim her wildness. But the whole idea was really out of character for her. Defending the dregs of the earth in front of paid-off judges in a small southwestern town meant always being on guard, because if the client didn't get you, the system would. Out of necessity, she adopted a facade of properness. But on this day, properness was on a collision course with misbehaving. She ended up at the Rusty Chain Saloon because of a client who was trying to put her life back together by walking the thin line between legal and illegal. Suki was her savior when it came to defining that line, but at the same time, she held out little hope for the girl to turn things around. The guys were the usual mix: divorced, separated bikers, and the women smelled like perfume and whiskey, all rolled into one. Suki had dressed the part so she wouldn't stand out, but somehow she knew everybody saw through. Now, the guy who'd been eyeing her since she sat down apparently had enough whiskey nerve to saunter in her direction. He casually pulled up a chair beside her and glared through road map eyes. He qualified as the antithesis to Mr. Charm, right down to the dragon tattoo, chained up wallet, and beard flowing over his chest. He gestured out the window to the motorcycle. "You want to ride with me, sweet thing?" "I'm waiting for someone who's just a little bigger than you," she said disdainfully. He chuckled knowingly and smiled. "There's a bike out there that's made for you, and before tonight, I bet you'll be on it." He popped a cigarette in his mouth and turned and went back to the bar. Yeah, right, she thought. What a jerk. An hour passed. She had a vodka and a pickled egg. Still no client. She should have known. The characters in the place were morphing into barnyard animals, and the sun was at that late afternoon slant that made everything look soft and wispy. She went outside, but when she got to her car, there was a bike parked so close she couldn't get her door open. She went around to the passenger side, same problem. About this time, Mr. Charm showed up. "Let me show you something," he said intelligently as he sidled up to the bike blocking her door. He pointed to a large gash along the gas tank. "This is where she took a hit from a pipe that dropped off a truck." He ran his fingers lovingly along the seat until they came to a 4-inch slash where the stuffing was oozing out. "This is where a stump nixed her when we were camping in the Tetons." Then he stood up to his full height, looked squarely into Suki's eyes, and said, "You see, life throws some tough stuff at her sometimes, but still, she just keeps on going. You know why? 'Cause for all the bumps, grinds, and disappointments, she's still got her spirit." The words hit Suki like the backdraft from a speeding semi. That's when she realized she had been taking herself way too seriously. That's when the chrome entered her eyes and the seat beckoned. And that's when she knew he had been right. She was going to ride that bike. In that single afternoon, she found the parts of herself she had lost over the years. Too busy, too focused on everyone else's dreams, too complacent, too typical. She had let the world reduce her being to a carbon copy of so many others. 2 weeks later, when she took the road test on that battered but trusty bike, the transformation was complete. From then on, Suki was a biker.